Here we have my magnificent new 4-year-old that I just got 2 days ago. And he's been on the fast forward program because I wanted to have a sit on him before I left for Aiken. So he was a very good boy to tolerate me sort of getting him here, giving him one day to get situated, and then hopping on. And he was so good about it. Anyway, this is Candy for Juba. He's a 16-1 4-year-old, and he literally just ran on February 22nd at Charlestown and ran very poorly, which is why now he's here with me. So this horse, he is just built in a frame. I mean, the way his neck just comes out and arches so perfectly. This is so easy for him to make the right shape. So he has an incredibly nice, light, soft feeling in the bridle. He When I first got on, he was a little bit distracted, rightly so. He literally just got to the farm. I'm asking him to do all these things. There's a road up the hill and you can see all the traffic going by. So he was a little distracted at first, but I mean, just totally to be expected behavior. So we got right to work, and of course, he made the shape right away. And he's such a typical green horse. What he needs to work on is mostly the straightness in his shoulders. So every time we go by the gate side, which we're approaching here, so here we're making our turn on the gate side, all I'm thinking about is riding the outside shoulder to the inside. So I'm just trying to push that right shoulder into the middle of the ring, into the middle of the ring. So it's not like I'm riding a circle. It's like I'm trying to ride a series of very small, very straight lines to push that shoulder around the corner. And for him, he's very simple. I mean, that is a very simple baby thing to need to work on. And he's exactly the same both directions. He is not better or worse one way or the other. He's perfectly equal. All right, so he did a lovely little trot set to the left. I remember riding around saying to my mom and my husband who were videoing that I absolutely adore him. And then I cannot believe that he's just been here for 48 hours and he just comes out and goes like this. So when we asked for the canter, I just had a lot of these lately. It's not like it takes him a long time, but he does definitely get a little bit disorganized in the canter transition. He wants to sort of speed up and get a little bit of a long strung out trot step into the canter, which of course puts you in a position then where once you're in the canter, you sort of have to recover, because when they pick up the canter like that, the head's up, the back's down, the nose and the hind end are like a mile apart. So you've got to sort of pick it all up and put it back together, which takes a couple of steps, as it did with him. But he was very good and he was very willing to let me make those corrections. And then once he sort of sat down on his hock, sat up with his shoulders, found the frame, then he was very good about staying in that frame. I thought he was very consistent. And the places where you'll see him be inconsistent is always when we're going by the gate side. And of course, that's because I'm having to really babysit that outside shoulder. And sometimes he just wiggles out of it and you'll see us doing the drift. And then I have to make the correction. But I mean, that's just such a thing. That's just such a normal thing. So there I made the correction and he was actually very good because he didn't come up against the contact. He stayed with me and let me make the correction. And here I was just thinking, what a lovely horse this is. And then he did a beautiful downward transition and super nice through that turn. So after we did the hardest thing, which was to canter, when we came back to the trot, staying straight in that corner was all of a sudden easier, because now it's relatively much easier than having to do it in the canter. So then we took a little walk break. I let him walk a couple loops around the ring, and then we started up to the right. And of course, no problems with the contact, super cute and easy in the bridle, really nice uphill light feeling. And so here we come to the gate side. So I'm trying to push now the left shoulder to the middle. And so you can see in the moments where I'm making the correction and I'm kicking with my outside leg and I'm sponging with my outside hand, and then he sort of comes up against me, but he's so good and quick about coming back together. And then in all these other areas in the ring where he is straight in his shoulders, I mean, he just makes such a nice package. And he's so consistent about it. It's really unbelievable to think that this is just his first post-track ride. Okay, so I think we're about to do our right canter. So here, he was really good around this corner. And so this is why I asked him for the right canter, because you see, I gave him the little pat there because he was so good. So I thought, okay, I've got him really pretty straight in the trot. So now is a good time to canter because I think I've got the trot about as good as I can get it. Okay, I thought we were about to canter. Oh, and so there I lost the shoulder a little bit. He came up for 2 steps. He got it right back. Don't know why I was procrastinating cantering. There we go. I think the first time I asked him, he picked up the left lead. So we cantered like a half a loop on the left lead, and then we came back to the trot. And the second time I asked him for the right canter, he picked it up. And actually, he did a better canter transition to the right than the left. And that doesn't necessarily mean that his canter transitions are better to the right. It just probably means that now he's done a few canter transitions, so he's practiced it a little bit. When I asked him in that one to the left earlier, that was the first time I'd asked him to canter ever at all, period. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, and now he's just had a little bit of practice, so it's getting better. He's just so crazy consistent in the frame. He gives such a, he's so balanced, really, in all three gaits, and the canter is just lovely. I always think that the canter is the most important gait because that's the gait that we jump from, and it's also the hardest to change, in my opinion. So good there around the corner. Oh, 2 steps where I lost his shoulder. I kicked him back over, and then I gave him a pat for being a good boy about it. So here about is where I started thinking, I think this horse is getting tired. He's probably had enough. He's really using himself correctly, and he just ran, so that has to be pretty exhausting for him. He did give me a really nice walk, so I gave you a little bit of walk video, and I was just so amazed by, again, just how consistent he could be in the walk. Sometimes the walk for these green horses is the hardest gait to get this sort of consistency. He's a star. I'm really happy with him. I couldn't be happier. I think he is an exceptionally talented, easy young guy. He looks like a little string bean, but he is a cute little string bean.